Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the Upper Tier Podcast. It's a Shankly Sessions again. Wednesday, Carabao Cup quarter-final day. Liverpool versus West Ham. Coming into this on the back of a poor performance the other day against Man United. That 0-0 draw. A fan base divided. Calls for players to be binned off by absolute clowns. But that's what you get, isn't it? That's what you get when you have a kind of a spoiled, petulant fan base and stuff like that. Everyone very, very disappointed in the result. No less our captain after the game as well. But that's the way it goes. But we move on, we go on. It's a quarter-final of a cup. And the real question coming out of this now is, which teams will play? Who will play? Who are the players that these managers are going to deploy? Will West Ham go really, really strong? Big win at the weekend against Wolves 3-0. Kudus, Paqueta, Souček, Ward-Prowse, Jared Bowen. So many players there that can hurt you and stuff like that. Phenomenal stuff that West Ham are doing there at the moment. Kushti as well in Europe. So we can park that until the new year. So they'll be heavily focused on getting into the semi-final of this. Massive results as again last night. 2 penalty shootouts and Borough coasting by Port Vale. Everton will be kicking themselves this morning that they're not in the draw tonight after missing out with an opportunity in the penalty shootout to win, but missing out. For Fulham going through 7-6 on penalties. Unusual the players who missed as well. Bobby Reid missing a penalty, you wouldn't have expected that. But Fulham shown their mettle to get through. And then on the other side, Chelsea versus Newcastle. Mudryk with the late equaliser forcing penalties. Eddie Howe must be absolutely fuming, especially in the manner in which it happened. Kieran Trippier, the guy who you can normally throw your hat on in defence, with a weak header down, Mudryk pouncing, scoring into the far corner. The equaliser going to penalties, then they go to penos, and again the penalty situation as well. Interesting as well. Chelsea absolute clutch on the penos. Newcastle, Matt Ritchie and Trippier stepping up again to take the peno. His mindset mightn't have been right, but my God, did he miss that penalty. He missed it so wide, it was unbelievable. So the question is, should he have been the guy to step up to take a peno after being the guy that dropped the clanger on the equaliser? Who knows? But Chelsea going through as well on penalties as well. So it makes for an interesting draw tonight. We've got Chelsea, Fulham, Middlesbrough, and then the winners of Liverpool versus West Ham. So this is the question: should Liverpool go strong tonight? Now, based on our injuries and various things there at the moment, we're probably going to have to field a reasonably strong side anyway. I mean, the front line more or less picks itself. Does he sit Darwin Núñez down and bring Cody Gakpo into the 9, or will he stick with Darwin and try and get a bit of confidence? Huge game coming up at the weekend, 5:30 Saturday. Arsenal are in town. So this is really a week of defining for this season, but it's also London calling to Anfield. Defining week for our season. Have to get the win tonight and get into the semi-final. Push on, show some confidence going into that Arsenal game. The concern for me would be is if we feel the weakened side tonight and a very much changed side and we go disjointed, I think West Ham could pick us apart. And if we crash out of the cup tonight on the back of that poor result at the weekend, on the back of that poor result in the Europa League, there's a little bit of a pattern developing that we'd have to be careful of and stuff, you know. There probably will be changes, there's no doubt. I think Kelleher will come in for Alisson. But the question is, at this stage in the cup, should he? Or should we really be trying to push ourselves on? Because I fancy us over anyone in a 2-legged affair. So I think we could be on the road to Wembley if we were to win tonight, which would be really cool, pending on the draw, of course, who knows. But there's a lot on the line. This week is really, as we said, it's a defining week for our season. Really, really is. We should have smashed United. We should have beaten United, but we just didn't show that additional guile and endeavour to do that. Now with West Ham, what way will they deploy? We know they like to play football. We know they have footballers who can play in their side and stuff like that. So that's really, really important to take note of. With the likes of Ward-Prowse in there, Jared Bowen, Danny Ings might come in. Our old boy Danny Ings, he might come in and show what he's about. Paqueta in there if he's in there. Of course, Souček. I said this before, and we said it on a preview for a West Ham game. We know how dangerous he can be. Set pieces and corners and all that stuff. Ward-Prowse. Do we need to highlight how dangerous he is in dead ball situations like that? Going to have to be so careful in defence when we're giving up frees or something around our box and stuff like that. These guys get really pushing. For us, who comes in? Do we go with the Kwanzaa, Joe Gomez partnership at the back? Does Kanate and Virgil stay in there and keep it strong? What about our midfield? How are we going to go midfield? We know that Gravenberch didn't actually do his hamstring, but just had some delayed onset muscle soreness and stuff like that. So does he come back in? Maybe not. Does Dominic come back in, or do we start with Harvey? We've seen at times when we've started with Harvey, it hasn't worked as well as when we've deployed him from the bench. Does Curtis Jones come in on the other side for Gravenberch? Do we stick with Endo in the 6? Lots of options there for the gaffer to think about. But I suppose it's kind of, you have to decide where does this on the scale of importance for us. I think it's huge. I'd love to put a trophy in the cabinet in February. I'd love us to be looking forward to a final in the new year and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's really important that we go out there, we go strong, we really try and really push through on this, you know what I mean? I think it'll be a tight affair. I'm taking a 2-1. Could even go to penalties. I called it last night on the 2 games for penalties, but tonight could even go to penalties as well. It could be a long night, and that's not the kind of night we want, especially looking at Arsenal at 5:30 on Saturday. So we'd like to get the job done. So certainly when you look at the way it matches up and stuff like that, I think West Ham will go strong. I think this will certainly be a big priority for David Moyes. Potentially another bit of silverware, because remember, if you go through at this stage, you've got Chelsea, Fulham and Middlesbrough, so you have a massive opportunity of putting another cup in the cabinet. Can you imagine David Moyes going in on the back of winning the European Cup last season, the European trophy, coming in and then throwing a Carabao Cup in the trophy cabinet as well? That would be massive for West Ham, absolutely massive. Of course, we'd like to get back to a little bit of silverware as well ourselves. It would push us on. But I think really tonight as well, we're really looking for a performance. I think the other day, the performance was a little blunt and stuff like that. I think Mo will still be up front, Cody maybe in the middle, Luis Diaz on the left. These boys need to put on a performance. They were poor the other day. They know they were poor by their standards. I'm sure the gaffer has had the conversation with them and stuff like that. But let us know your lineup in the comments. Let us know your score prediction as well. Sure to be a really good game. When Moyes and Klopp come up against each other, it's always going to be a little bit feisty, isn't it? With the history and all that. So let's see how this game goes, but it's a massive game. Need to put in a performance. Arsenal then up next on Saturday, which is going to be absolutely huge. That will define who's going top of the table at Christmas. Big one. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Of course, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button. This is your Carabao Cup quarter-final preview. Liverpool versus West Ham, coming to you tonight from Anfield, under the lights, packed house, 8 o'clock. What more would we want? We love these midweek games. Let's go, Reds.